Welcome to Entrepreneurship Unplugged, everyone. I have a pleasure of sitting here with an old friend and fellow Gibbs alumni, Tertia Barrett, and we're talking about the workspace revolution. COVID obviously changed a hell of a lot around the world, and it's thrown a lot of the assumptions and the trends in disarray. It looks like a revolution happened, this work at home fad. But what is really going on in the market? Tertia, you've been around the block in the space. You do a lot of the tools and the analytics that allow companies to understand better office utilization. What is really happening? What has COVID done to the world?
It's actually been such a fascinating journey, because COVID really forced us out of our comfort zone. It forced us to rethink things that we've always done before, that typical line of, this is the way it's always been. It's forced us out of that. I had one customer tell me that he said, Tertia, we've been talking about working from home for years. He says, and suddenly, and we never did it. We just couldn't get there. We couldn't force ourselves to do it. And he said, suddenly we had 3 days. And he says, you know what? In 3 days we did it.
Right.
So it forced us out of our comfort zone. But this journey has been fascinating to watch. So a few months ago, everyone was working from home. And if you read any article, it was, this is the best thing we've ever done. Productivity is up, people love it. Working from home is the way of the future. And things are changing at such a fast pace. I was having conversations with my colleagues, and I'd say, this is what I think is going to happen. I said, but on this date, on the 30th of April 2020, I said, but the speed things are changing, this could change in a month again, and it did. But now let's fast forward a few months. And what's been very interesting to see is where a few months ago it was the office is dead. How that's changed. And what companies are starting to realize is the importance of human connections in work. And you might go, but Tertia, there's Teams and Zoom and we connect every single day. But there's such a difference in face-to-face connections.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about the impact on company culture. We're talking about onboarding new staff. So if you think about it, when you onboard a new person, they always have people to watch, and they learn quite quickly.
True.
Now you've got a new person starting, like you can't Teams someone, follow them on Teams the whole day. So they spoke about onboarding being really, really tricky because you don't have that environment. Right. But the best story for me is I have a friend that works in an investment bank. And he said, they've been working from home solidly pretty much since lockdown. And until only about a month ago, they had their first face-to-face meeting with their team, with their department, since lockdown. And he says, what was fascinating is there's this one issue we've been struggling with, this one problem. And we've had lots of team calls, and he says, we just couldn't figure it out. But he says, 4 of us were together. I looked at him and I said, how do we, that other thing we've been struggling with? He says, 10 minutes. 10 minutes we found a solution. And that's what I think what people are realizing now. Your office is no longer, you asked me earlier, what's going to change? Your office is no longer a desk where you come to the office, put your laptop down, your handbag, and work the whole day. It's a place where you can really interact with your colleagues, where you can come up with ideas, where you can really just, it's a different place now.
But tell me, so are we going to see a yo-yo effect? Meaning, great COVID came, everybody home, and now everybody back to the office? Or do you think we're going to move towards a hybrid model?
Definitely towards a hybrid model. Definitely towards a hybrid model. So what we're seeing is, if I take our business as an example, so our dev team have absolutely thrived working remotely. They are more productive than ever before. And they really love it. They, say they have a lot more hours during the day. They don't have traffic anymore. They love working from home.
Right.
And they've really found a way to connect even though they don't see each other face to face anymore. And we're now at the stage where they come to the office once a week. They come to the office to live this culture, to interact with the people that they don't see every day. So definitely a hybrid model. So what a lot of companies are doing at the moment, and that's been part of this journey, is over the last few months, the amount of conversations I've had to say, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. No. We don't know, is everyone going to work from home? Is everyone going to come back? Do we move into smaller offices? Like, no one knows what to do.
I mean, I look at these CBDs, these Centons, the Skyline, tons of real estate as this hardcore premium,
Yes.
sitting idle, semi-idle? Is it then anticipation of future demand?
So it's quite interesting because we drove through Sandton the other day. So we're based in Rosebank, and Rosebank is quite vibey, it's quite busy. Everyone's doing social distancing and wearing masks, don't worry. But it's quite vibey, and we drove to Sandton to see a client, and I felt like I was driving to a ghost town. And Sandton had a lot of spare space available before lockdown. And we had a lot of our customers saying what they're going to do is they're going to move into a smaller space in their offices and sublet. So they were going to sublet.
Right.
There was already extra office space, and everyone wants to sublet now, except no one wants to rent. So it's an interesting market that's playing there at the moment. You know, companies who never played in the leasing space are saying, we're going to sublet our office space. So it's really interesting to see what's happening. And I don't quite know the answer yet. And people are experiencing it differently. So I spoke to one of our clients the other day, and I said, so a month ago you said you're going to rent out part of your space. How are those plans going? What's happening? And she said, no. The moment we told people, we're going to let you go back into the office, only half of you can come, but you can come. Everyone wanted to come. So I think there's no definite answer at the moment. There's no definite answer. People are figuring it out.
But it's interesting. So, for example, when I was an entrepreneur many, many years ago, when I had hair, one of the challenges was at different cycles in our entrepreneurial journey. As we needed more space, we didn't really know how much space we needed, which is in a way I can't really show you, but right above us there's little devices. What do these devices do?
So these devices track how people use the space. So right now, the sensor will tell us in our canteen area, there are 2 people sitting at this desk. And the analytics it provides over a period is it tells you how many people use the canteen area, how many people use the pool table every day. What is our desk utilization? What is our meeting utilization? Our big 12-seater, do people ever use it? Because, you know, no office ever has enough meeting rooms, ever.
For those times. And then it's completely empty.
And then it's completely empty, or the 12-seater has 2 people in it, and 6 people have to squash into the 4-seater. So what our sensors allow people to do is to really understand what actual usage is, and then make business decisions around it.
And that is so important, I think, because with this hybrid model, it doesn't matter if we don't know exactly the future. If we are working on gut feeling what others are doing, a sense of what's happening in the economy versus really understanding how individual team and cultures use actually a space that you've created.
Yeah.
It must lead to some fascinating insight and revelations for some of your customers, for example.
Yes. So the biggest thing, so you spoke about the hybrid model. The biggest thing that's happening at the moment is companies are moving from this kind of old school, everyone's got a desk, you've got a few meeting rooms, to what we call either flexible working or activity-based working. So now, to understand what that means, kind of take you away from, we used to have desks and meeting rooms. Take your mind completely out of it. We start with, as an employee, what are the tasks you have to do every day, every week?
Very good.
And I'll tell you, and I'll say, well, sometimes I have to do budgets, then I just need a quiet space to work. And sometimes I've just got normal job to do, and I can sit in an open plan, and it can be a bit noisy. And then I've got video calls, and I can't have the tea trolley making little sounds next door as I come past. And then, you know, we walked into a boardroom just now, and I love drawing on a whiteboard. Like, my whiteboard is always covered, and there's never enough space. I like hide something, put something new in. So sometimes I want to collaborate with my team, and sometimes I need to have a meeting. So we start with asking people what they do. And then what we do is we say, okay, what space do we need for that? And we build spaces around it. So we build hot desking, and we build quiet spaces where people can do budgets. And we build a lot of collaboration spaces, because the way we work has changed, and collaboration is so key to innovation and success. So we build it, and when we ask people when they meet, like, how often do you have a team meeting? How often do you have, so we build spaces. Now you have to remember, people are people. So if you had a company that used to have the old desk space, meeting room, and you say, Monday, no one has a desk anymore. You can't just, people aren't, so now people arrive at work, they don't have a desk anymore. So they don't know what to do. So they go, oh, can I sit there? Yes, I can sit there. It looks open. Okay, I'm going to put my laptop down, because that's what I used to do. I used to put my laptop down. And then I'm going to go into my meetings the whole day. And that's where technology and the sensors come into play.
I love it.
So I have a great story. So I have this friend of mine who recently moved from a very small company, kind of agile environment, to a bank. And he says, Tertia, phones me after week 1. He's like, there's 8 floors. He says, every morning I spend 20 minutes looking for a desk. He says, it's ridiculous. So I look for a desk. I WhatsApp my team to go, where are they sitting today? So the big risk when you're changing to this new activity-based working model, which makes so much sense and is great, is you have to think of the humans. You have to think of the people.
Yeah.
So there's change management involved. Because my mental state was always, I put my bag on my desk, and this is my desk, and my plants was
Yes.
my photo.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a change management angle. But the other part is you need to have technology that enables that new way of working.
Yeah. And I love what you're saying, because actually it taps into kind of the future of work.
Yeah.
We're moving away from the you're hired to pitch up at 9 and leave at 5, and you're hired now to do a specific role, to have a certain responsibility, to work on tasks. And your point about you coming to the office isn't anymore a bum in a seat, is an enabling environment for a specific project.
Yeah.
And it brings also to the fact that, I suppose, in this, like your story about the developers, you're actually finding that certain people are better suited for certain environment as those who don't need a social interaction for 4 days
Absolutely.
a week.
Absolutely. So you have this hybrid model of I don't need to be at work every day, 8 to 5.
Yeah.
But I need to deliver outcomes. And my workspace enables me to deliver those outcomes. And I can work anywhere.
And that is so powerful also in space utilization. And the amount of offices you must have seen, and I see as well in my globe trottings, is that it's completely misaligned to how much space is currently needed. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, we don't know what the next 5 years will look like, so let's rent enough extra space. Yeah. And the amount of wastage that goes into that.
And part of the reason that happened, York, is people never knew how the space was used.
Yeah.
They don't know. So we've got a lot of clients coming to us and saying, I think I need to move to a smaller space, and the dev guys are going to work from home mostly, but they're going to come in now and then. And we go, okay, how much space do you need?
I don't know.
So what we do is we ask managers. We go, how many people have you got on your team, and how many desks do you think I'll need next year?
Right.
I'll need 50. And that's what we did. We built a massive building based on what you said you think you'd need.
Yeah.
And now we rewind it and we go, hang on, let's put some sensors in. And the sensors work 24 hours. It doesn't rely on someone's memory, or it picks up how the people uses the space. It gives you a heat map, gives you great analytics, and it says, actually, York, if we look at the peak times, different days of the week, different months, because you also have, every month is kind of different.
Absolutely.
It's not copy-paste. We can see that this is the space you need. And this is how many meeting rooms you need. And this is on average the size of meeting rooms you have. So what else do you need in your business?
Right.
And you'll say, well, I see we actually only need small meeting rooms, but when we get our clients to come to visit, we want to show off a bit. So we still want a big one. Cool. Build one, not 5 of them.
I love it. But this must have enormous ramification to the, call it the corporate office real estate sector.
Yes.
Are people sweating?
Yeah, they're worried. They are worried. They are worried. And I think one thing about is that when you're not sure, you worry.
Yeah.
If we had predictability and we know that for the next 5 years, in 5 years' time, I won't need office space, or we're going to grow by so many employees. People don't know at the moment, and it's that uncertainty that's causing people to worry.
And also, I presume companies are not wanting to commit anymore to space for 20 years. And
yes, but and it's, you're absolutely right. And I keep telling people, you have to change the way you think about this. You just have to shift your thinking completely. So, it's not. So one is, what do you want to achieve as a business? What do you want to achieve as a business? What is your strategy? What makes you you? You have to start there. So for instance, it's not about a big office space.
That's powerful.
It's not about the big office space. So what do you want to achieve as a business? So our business, we're all about people. We're all about people because we know people are what drives your business forward. They support your clients, they bring in sales, they get money in, they do everything. They also drive innovation, they drive growth. So you have to start there. Are you a people's business? For us, culture is very important. We have popcorn Fridays, which is like, I want to say the highlight of the week, but it's not, but it's one of the best things about a Friday. So for us, culture is very important. And then we go, okay.
Now regretting not filming this on a Friday.
Yes, you should have. Although we wouldn't have been able to get a word in. Very busy.
Small price to pay for good popcorn.
Best thing, we get this email. It's the funniest thing because we get this email that it just says, get it while it's hot. And you have everyone streaming coming through. And we're like, social distancing and trying to sanitize. But so my point is, that's what we wanted as a business.
Right.
So we went back and said, okay, we have to have social distancing. We want to have flexible working. But how can we achieve that with this new way of working? And that's what we figured out. And we shuffled the desks around and created spaces, and we have what we call office shifts, and we have an app for that as well. But we actually say, now we only allow so many people in the office, so tell us when you want to come to the office. And I can come Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but I can see York's there on Wednesday, and I actually want to collaborate with York on Wednesday. So I'm going to come on the same day, so he's here. So we allow people to do that, and we have less events, because obviously you can't. But we still try and achieve them.
You know, and it's interesting you say that because, like we said, it's the future of work. It's uncertain. You have to make a plan. You're starting to reshift the way you look at employees, at staff, at culture. To your point exactly, what is it that you're trying? What is your company about? Is your company, as you said, a beautiful, fancy office in a prime location, or is it about whatever it is?
Yeah.
So I love it, and I think these are uncertain times, but I think I want to close with, I'm an entrepreneur or entrepreneurship minded. I love small and medium-sized enterprises. The products that you talk about, the analytics, the app, it looks a bit like a little fire extinguisher which you plug at the wall. I wish I could show you, no I can't, without becoming ridiculous, but are these things only for corporates, or can a small business also start looking at these solutions?
Absolutely, and I think that's so important is we have this kind of best of breed selection of solutions that we've got available, but we start every single customer and go, what do you want to achieve?
Right.
And based on that, we go, this is the right fit, this is what we think you should do. So a lot of smaller businesses are saying, I also don't know how my space is actually being used. I don't know if I need this, or you know, we're a small, agile business, but we want to create more collaboration spaces. We want to have bigger whiteboards so we can come up with crazy ideas, and we want Popcorn Friday. So it's all about understanding what you want to achieve and then going, this is the right solution for you.
That is so powerful. Everybody, thanks for watching Entrepreneurship Unplugged. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.